Storytelling is an ancient art. In fact, humans have been telling stories for over 40,000 years. But what makes a story unforgettable? Why do some stories stick with us while others fade away? Here's a shocking fact. Research shows people remember stories up to 22 times more than facts alone. That's right, your brain is hardwired to love stories. In this video, we're unlocking the secrets that top storytellers use to hook readers instantly. These aren't the tired tricks you've heard a million times. No, we're diving deep into advanced techniques that make readers crave your next word. We'll cover how to create suspense from the start, why the ordinary can be magical, and how to build characters that transform in ways you never saw coming. And stay tuned for the cliffhanger secrets that will leave your audience begging for more. Stick with us, and by the end, you'll be able to craft stories that pull readers in from the first sentence and keep them hooked until the last. Ready to start telling stories that people will never forget? Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The Power of the Unfinished Thought. Leave M hanging. One of the best ways to hook a reader is with an open-ended question or a situation that's not fully explained. This keeps the reader wanting more. Think about the best TV shows. Many start in the middle of a chaotic scene, leaving you to wonder what happened before. It's like your brain gets a puzzle that it wants to solve. This technique, known as suspenseful foreshadowing, is incredibly effective. The brain craves answers, so when you start with something unresolved, you immediately engage the reader's curiosity. Did you know that people are 40% more likely to finish a story if they start with an unanswered question? According to psychologist Daniel Kahneman, unresolved tension triggers the brain's cognitive dissonance and forces it to resolve the conflict. It's a mental itch that can only be scratched by finishing the story. For instance, a story could begin with a character running, terrified, without explaining why. The mystery instantly compels the reader to stay hooked. Why are they running? Who are they running from? Keeping your audience curious is like planting seeds that they can't ignore. The best part? The technique can be as simple as leaving a sentence unfinished or using a statement that hints at something darker ahead. Another idea is starting with a direct action. A character pulling a gun, a loud crash, or a tear-streaked face in the middle of a normal day. The interruption of normalcy heightens curiosity and intrigue. Readers will want to understand what caused this shift, pulling them further into your narrative. But remember, don't keep the suspense hanging for too long. If you keep them dangling without resolution for too many pages, they might lose interest. It's all about balance. Give them just enough to keep them engaged and then satisfy their curiosity at the right moment. Chapter 2. Ditch the dull. Transform ordinary into extraordinary. Every day, people experience the same routines, but how often do we stop to notice the magic in these moments? Great storytellers find wonder in the mundane. Think about a cup of coffee. To many, it's just a beverage, but in the right hands, it becomes a symbol of a quiet moment of peace or a burst of energy after a long day. In fact, studies show that vivid imagery helps readers create mental pictures, which boosts memory retention by 45%. When you paint an ordinary moment with vibrant descriptions, you invite readers to feel and see exactly what the character does. It's easy to skip over these moments when writing, but transforming the ordinary is what elevates your storytelling. The key is to pay attention to sensory details, the sound of a door creaking, the smell of fresh rain, or the taste of salty sea air. These details root the story in reality but add richness to it. Take a look at the work of Haruki Murakami. In his novel Norwegian Wood, he describes the sensation of touching someone's hand as a small shiver of pleasure. This simple yet profound line brings an ordinary action to life. Want to make your scenes feel even more extraordinary? Give the objects and settings symbolic meaning. Maybe a broken watch in the protagonist's pocket represents the passing of time or the end of an era. A cracked mirror might symbolize their fractured identity. These subtle choices make the ordinary extraordinary. Another trick is to personify the setting. Describe how the trees sway like they're listening to the character's thoughts or how the sky feels as if it's watching over them. By weaving these small, imaginative touches into the narrative, you elevate everyday moments into something readers won't forget. Chapter 3. The Art of the In Media Res. Jump. Start with a bang. Imagine you're reading a book, and suddenly, the main character is in the middle of a dangerous car chase. What's your first instinct? To keep reading, right? That's the power of the in media res technique, jumping right into the action. Research from Harvard University suggests that stories starting in the middle of a high-energy scene are more memorable and engaging than those that start slowly. It taps into a primal part of the brain that craves excitement and conflict. Action sequences, even brief ones, activate the reader's fight or flight instincts, instantly pulling them in. A great example of this is George R.R. Martin's A Game of Thrones, which opens with a sudden, brutal death. There's no build-up, no slow introduction. The story immediately throws you into a world of danger and intrigue, making you want to learn how it all fits together. Starting with action works because it releases tension in the audience. The unexpected is, by definition, interesting. When you throw the reader into a confusing or intense moment, their mind races to fill in the gaps. Who are these people? Why is this happening? What will happen next? The questions keep them hooked. You can also experiment with action paired with emotion. For example, opening with a character in a fight while also revealing their inner fear or confusion can create a deeper connection with the audience. They don't just want to know how the fight ends, they want to know how the character feels during it. But remember, while starting with action can be gripping, don't forget to layer in some context early on. Readers still need to understand the who, what, and why of the scene, even if it's just a glimpse before diving deeper. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips on how to craft the perfect opening for your story. Chapter 4: Character Evolution. Let your protagonist break the mold. There's nothing more engaging than seeing a character change, especially when their evolution feels unexpected. It's not enough for your protagonist to just grow. They need to transform, and this transformation should be unpredictable. Take Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. At first, she's sharp, judgmental, and quick to dismiss others. By the end of the story, she's learned humility, empathy, and the value of seeing beyond surface appearances. But it's her unpredictable journey that makes the reader stay. Psychologist Carol Dweck found that readers are more likely to connect with characters who demonstrate growth based on effort rather than innate qualities. Characters who evolve because of their experiences resonate more deeply. This is the kind of character that sticks with you long after you've finished reading. A great tip to hook your audience early is to show inner conflict. Maybe your character's values clash with the world around them, or perhaps they must choose between two equally difficult paths. These dilemmas create emotional tension that pulls readers into the character's journey. The key to a memorable protagonist is making them feel real. That means giving them flaws, contradictions, and desires that don't always align with what the world expects. These imperfections create a rich, layered character that's impossible to ignore. Think of Walter White from Breaking Bad. He's a high school chemistry teacher who becomes a ruthless drug kingpin, yet somehow, we root for him. His internal conflict, the battle between doing what's right and what's necessary, keeps us hooked throughout the series. Chapter 5: Cliffhanger Mastery. Master the art of the pause. Want to keep your readers coming back for more? Master the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger leaves your audience at a critical point, just before something major happens, and forces them to keep reading. According to a study by the University of California, suspenseful endings boost reader retention by 60%. Cliffhangers are more than just shocking plot twists. They can be emotional moments, like a character facing a heartbreaking decision or a mysterious twist in the plot. The unsatisfied tension left at the end of a chapter forces readers to keep going, unable to put the book down. Agatha Christie, the Queen of Mystery, often ended chapters with cliffhangers, forcing readers to turn the page just to get closure. Whether it was a sudden revelation or a crime left unsolved, the unsatisfied tension left readers hanging on every word. But here's the trick: don't overdo it. If every chapter ends on a cliffhanger, they'll lose their power. Use this technique sparingly and strategically to increase impact. Sometimes, the best cliffhangers aren't dramatic, they're emotional. A sudden pause after a heartfelt conversation, a character walking away from a difficult choice. These moments keep readers on edge. They want to know if the character will stay true to themselves or give in. Remember, a cliffhanger's power comes from the emotional and narrative payoff that follows. So, plan your plot and character arcs carefully, and you'll keep your readers eagerly awaiting the next chapter. Chapter 6: Emotionally Hooking the Heart. Dive into the depths of human experience. If you want to hook your readers for the long haul, you have to tap into their emotions. According to Harvard Business Review, emotionally charged stories are 22 times more likely to be shared. That's because humans are wired for emotional connection. The trick isn't just telling your reader what the character feels, it's showing them in ways that make the emotion unforgettable. A quick example. Instead of saying, "She was sad," try, "Her eyes burned with unshed tears, and her hands trembled as she held the letter." By showing instead of telling, you invite readers to experience the emotion with the character, creating a deeper connection. This technique works because our brains are hardwired to empathize with others' feelings. When we feel what the character feels, we become more invested in their journey. Another great strategy is to make emotions complicated. Instead of just joy or sadness, layer in feelings of guilt, confusion, or hope. It's this emotional complexity that makes a character feel real and compelling. Think about J.K. Rowling's portrayal of Harry Potter's struggles. Harry isn't just angry or sad, he's conflicted, afraid, and confused. These nuances make his journey resonate more deeply. The more you tap into the messy, unpredictable emotions of real life, the more your readers will connect with your characters. It's about making them feel something, and making sure that feeling stays with them long after they've turned the last page. Don't forget to subscribe for more storytelling tips and tricks to help you create unforgettable stories that captivate readers from start to finish.